Hey everybody, Mrs. Peterson here, and we're going to talk about color theory today. And I want to go through three different aspects of color theory. One, the kind of color that you paint with, or the kind of color that you put onto paper, right? And then another kind that is printed. It's a different type of color. And the other type of color that is projected. Color is designed and works different in all three of those venues. The first thing that we're going to do is kind of talk about the basics of the color wheel, which many of you already have reviewed. And so that's going to go kind of quick. And then we'll talk about the other two. Okay, here we go. Well, hold on. Here we go. There we go. So we're going to do terminology related to color theory. We're going to do the different types of color schemes, and you'll be doing a little assignment on that. We're going to develop color schemes. That's that assignment. You're going to identify RGB values and colors, and you're going to establish CMYK colors. Now, we're doing our main project on that first one. All right. Here we go. Part one, color terminology and color schemes. All right. The color results when light is reflected off an object. So when the light reflects off of this pen and reflects back to my eye, that's when I see it as this color, right? Everything else is absorbed into this pen, and we only see the color that's reflected back to us, right? The color is what that's reflected back to us, and the length of the wave helps us determine the color. So you've seen spectrum, you've seen prisms or rainbows. Those all have to do with how big the wave is. So primary colors. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, right? These are considered the basic colors because you can mix any color in paint, or something that you're maybe putting on paper can be mixed with these three colors, right? Now, tints and shades. I've already talked to a few of you about this when we were putting together an example of monochromatic, right? Tint is when you add white to a color, right? When you add white to a color. But shade is when you add black to a color, a blue shade and a blue tint, right? Now we will be having a test over this terminology and the different aspects that we're talking about here. Okay, color terminology, secondary colors, you guys. When you take two colors, you already reviewed this, red plus yellow equals orange, red plus blue equals violet, and blue plus yellow equals green. That is when you're painting and you're mixing colors, or you have crayons, things that you're putting on paper, right? These colors are made by mixing equal amounts of the primary colors. But there's another one that we're going to look at called tertiary colors, all right? Tertiary colors. These colors can be created in two ways. First, you can mix an unequal amount of primary colors, or you can mix a primary and a secondary together, right? So let's look. Yellow plus green is, yellow is primary, green is secondary, equals the tertiary, right? Red plus violet, red is primary, violet is secondary, equals red violet. Red plus orange, red orange, blue plus green is blue green. But you could also do this much red and this much blue. They're unequal amounts, and that would create a tertiary color. Or this much yellow and this much red, and it would create a tertiary color. This all has to do with, think of painting and mixing colors, all right? It's not the same in printing. It's not the same in digital color coming out of your screen, all right? So we do have some neutral colors, right? And the neutral colors, you guessed it, black and white and gray. Those make sense. The other ones that we're going to add in there is brown and tan. I don't know if you've ever taken your paint set and mixed them all together. You don't usually get black. You get some sort of brown, right? And tan would be white added to that, right? White, brown, black, and various shades of each, all right? Let's try over here again. Let's see. Okay, color wheel. You've all reviewed this already. So this should look similar to the project that you've processed through already. So we arrange the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in a circle right next to each other, the adjacent colors, and we get what we can call a color wheel. All right. This one's kind of a flat tire, but it's still a color wheel. Now, this is where we talked about this one already. We talked about a few of these color schemes, but not all of them. So here's the first one, complementary colors. Any two colors that are exactly opposite each other on the color wheel, right? So orange and blue, exactly opposite. If I do green and red, Christmas colors, they're exactly opposite. Blue, green, and red, orange, exactly opposite. So when you think of complementary colors, you'll think of a straight line. That's how you're going to find it. And I say that because we're going to need some shapes to help us with these next color schemes, right? Here we go. The next one is a split complementary. So if you think blue and orange are directly across from each other, then make a fork with it, okay? So blue, and when you split it, you're not going to hit orange, but you're going to use the two things on either side of that. Yellow, orange, and red, orange, right? So you could go red and green. Those are complementary, but a split complement would be red and yellow, green, and blue, green. So think of that fork on the end of your split complement. Yellow complement would be violet, but the split complement would be blue, violet, and red, violet, okay? So the next one is can't say it today, analogous colors, right? And those are colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel, right? Right next to each other on the color wheel. So green, green, blue, and blue, red, orange, red, red, orange, and red. And any tertiary color in between, you guys, you could have a tertiary color right here in between, and that would fit as well. Okay, this one is called a harmonious pair. So if you think of the split complement with the fork, or if you think of a rectangle, right? And here's what I say about a rectangle. A rectangle is long. Think of a long rectangle, and then it's going to work. Yellow, green, blue, violet, red, violet, yellow, orange, and yellow, green. It's a rectangle, right? So I could do it here, green, blue, red, and orange. It's a rectangle, all right? All right, so those are going to be complementary, but there's also, harmonious pairs, all right? 4 colors that have split complementaries already, right? So if we know that red, orange, and blue, green are opposite on the color wheels, then we know these are split complements and these are split complements, and there's our rectangle that works, all right? This next one, think of a triangle, and it's going to help you out because it's called a triad. It's already telling you 3 colors, you guys, but it's a little bit different than that split complement because you're going to skip a few colors, right? Colors that are equally distanced from each other on the color wheel. So if you think of that perfect triangle, right? We call it not a right triangle. We call it equilateral. Equal sides, equal angles. This really is a pretty ugly equilateral triangle, but if you place the triangle in the middle of your color wheel, you would be able to find those triads, okay? It's not a split complement, it's a triad. Colors that are equally distant from each other on the color wheel. Most basic triad scheme is the 3 primary colors, right? Blue, red, and yellow. Or the 3 tertiary colors, green, violet, and orange, right? So again, if you lay that equilateral triangle in the middle of your color wheel, it will help you find those colors, right? Let's go on to the next one. Now, the other one was a squishy, remember a squishy rectangle? This one is actually a square. Now, it doesn't look like a square today, but it's a square on your actual wheel, because remember I have a flat tire today. 4 colors that are equally distanced from each other, not a squishy rectangle, but a square, okay? If you lay a square in the middle of the color, the tips of it will point to 4 colors: yellow, green, blue, red, violet, and orange, right? And if you're just gonna get a square, all right? I'm going to actually do that with my class here, and we're gonna rotate the square around, right? And then tetrad pairs, okay? Place the square in the middle of the wheel. Your 4 colors located, okay, this is a sample, okay? So the tetrad is the one that we just saw right before this. You place your square in the middle of the color wheel, and those 4 that touch is gonna be a color scheme that you've put together. Your 4 colors are located in the corners of the square, and then you're going to use 2 colors for your main colors and the other 2 for your accents. So see how there's a picture here? And to be honest, I don't know what their main color is. Maybe the magenta is their main color. And maybe their orange is their main color. And the green, the yellow green is accent, and the blue is accent. Okay, because you're gonna be actually coloring some papers, and you're gonna get your own color scheme plans. So let's look at a different one. This one right here is analogous. Remember, they're right next to each other on the color wheel. So this artist picked these 3, okay? Choose any 3 colors. Also, neutral colors can always be part of any of these color schemes. Neutral colors don't change the color scheme. So I could do green, green, and yellow, and I could use black, or I could keep it white for a background, or I could use gray, all right? Or maybe I'd do orange, red orange, and yellow orange, and used a brown, because that might complement it. But it's still only 3 colors, because the neutral colors don't count in the color scheme, right? Here's one more, I believe. Here is one version of the assignment. So if you're in principles, this is your assignment. You have a color wheel, and I'm going to give you some printouts. I'm going to be sending those to you. It says don't use markers, but I don't mind if you use markers, you guys. You can use markers for this. You're going to design 5 different color schemes. If you want 100%, you have to do all 5 plus the question. If you want at least an 80%, you have to do 4 of them and the question. If you want, that's it. You got to do at least 4, right? 5 for 100%. Choose your own variations of the color and give your schemes. And then you're also going to, oh, you'll see. Let me grab that real quick. Okay, here we go. Here's an example. Let's see if it sees it. See the rectangle? Okay, and then there's just kind of a design in there. In that design, you are going to color it. Let's say it's a triad and you do orange, green, and violet. Then you would just use orange, green, and violet anywhere in here. You could do orange, green, violet, orange, green, violet, orange, green, violet, or you could do orange, green, violet with orange, 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 green, 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 violet, or you could alternate them. You can alternate these. You're just going to use the color scheme within it. Now, the last page of this assignment has a little question that you have to answer. And the question says, which number is your favorite color scheme? So there's 5 different sets, right? So if number 5, you would say number 5 right here. And then the type, so you would say, well, number 5 is the triad. So you would write the triad is my favorite color scheme. And then you explain, all right? So you have to do that.